Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the potential for kind of some significant cold weather as we go into December. And I've got to say, since the last kind of update video, which was on Monday, things have started to look a lot more interesting. So we could be seeing the potential for possibly some significant cold now really into kind of the end of the first and kind of more into the second week of December. And we'll start off now by looking at some of the main kind of models and the setups in them. Just a reminder on this chart, the colours is precipitation or rain, purple is kind of snow, the black lines are kind of isobars, which are lines of equal pressure, and then the wind flows kind of clockwise around high pressure systems like this, and then anti-clockwise around low pressure systems like this. So for example, you can see here the wind would be flowing like that. So in this chart we have a light easterly, and so as you can see, this is by Saturday morning, we have high pressure starting to set up towards the east of the UK. By the way, this is on the Canadian GEM model, and you can see nothing really cold. By the way, this is the temperature at 1.5 kilometers, but you do see we have kind of sub-zero air across the UK, slightly higher up into the atmosphere, with some colder air kind of coming in from the east, -5 at this temperature, at this level, which is 1.5 kilometers roughly, and that could possibly be conducive to some sleet or cold rain even, the most exciting thing, across kind of parts of kind of eastern England. And as you can see, we have these kind of rain showers coming off the North Sea, and that's part of the kind of sea effect snow, or sea effect kind of precipitation, which I'll get into a bit later. And you can see that high pressure system kind of staying relatively in the same position over Russia, and then it's over Scandinavia. But note kind of what happens from today, which is this high pressure system right over here. Note what happens as we move forward in time. That high pressure system, so number one, we have a new one building to the south of Greenland, and this one kind of moves northwest towards Greenland at the same time, and we end up with a really strong high pressure system over Greenland. Look at that. 1060 millibars right there. And so you can see what this allows in some scenarios is that the wind flows in kind of like this from the east or northeast, and it kind of opens up the floodgates for all this much colder air to the north and east over kind of Europe and the Arctic to kind of come down into the UK. And in this particular model run, we get exactly that. We get this low pressure system pulling in kind of towards Spain. That's pulling in a northeasterly airflow, that very strong high pressure pulling in from some cold air from the northeast. And we end up with a really cold spell with a low kind of drifting around the North Sea. And in this particular kind of model run, we do get a significant kind of snow event through the Midlands, southern England, with a lot of kind of showers, snow, rain and sleet coming off the North Sea like this. And if we look at this morning's European model run, we kind of actually see the exact same thing, which is kind of interesting. But you can see there's that cold temperatures, -8 degrees. This would definitely be conducive for snow, especially at kind of higher ground. If we look at the European run, you can see quite a similar thing. I'll just go back to the overview. So we have that high pressure system over kind of Scandinavia and kind of northern Europe, and then we get a new high pressure system building into parts of Greenland over time. You can see it's starting to build there, and then we get this one kind of moving. All of the high pressure starts moving kind of to the north and west until we get a significant high pressure. This one's here on 1050 over Greenland, and the same thing allows the floodgates of really cold air to open up into the UK. And you can see on this particular one, we get all of the UK covered in that kind of dark blue, even purple temperatures, which would definitely bring the potential, the potential for significant snow showers, as you can see in this model. And in case any of you kind of wondering what is this kind of like, what's going on with these kind of the North Sea making the showers, well, this is a diagram I've just found on Google. You can probably find it as well if you search up lake effect snow, but you can see the warmer water of the North Sea. So if I show you the GFS, okay, so the 12C GFS is coming in. We'll get back to that later. But if I show you the North Sea now, you can see, you can see that here, kind of across the northern North Sea, temperatures kind of 10 degrees-ish, and in the southern North Sea, kind of 10 to 15. And so that creates a temperature difference when you have kind of 10 degrees Celsius water, and then for example, in the European model's case, like -8 degrees Celsius air, that creates a temperature difference from the warm water and the cold wind, and that allows instability and showers to form, in some cases producing a lot of snow, but that's more of a concern kind of the Great Lakes of America, and it's usually more marginal here in the UK. But we can occasionally happen. It happened in the Beast from the East, happened in 2010. So if I show you the latest GFS model, you can see we have the same thing here, which high pressure builds and kind of moves towards Greenland, but unlike the other two models, it doesn't necessarily open the floodgates as much. So while there is a strong signal for high pressure to build, it doesn't 100% mean we're going to get cold air, even though towards the end of this model run it looks like we're starting to try and bring it down a bit. So that is one thing to note, that while even if we do get this high pressure over Greenland, which seems likely, it's not going to bring massive snow. But what might help us kind of get an idea on how cold it will be is looking at kind of the GFS kind of ensembles and the ensemble averages, which kind of gives us kind of an overview of what's going to happen. So you can see this is the GFS ensemble kind of average. You can see we have, when there's kind of more detail, that shows there's more confidence, and so you can see here, and when the colors are kind of more bright, it kind of shows more confidence as well. And so you can see, or not more bright, but more kind of pronounced, like orange and blue. But you can see here we have strong confidence now on high pressure building over Northern Europe. Could bring kind of some potentially cold weather to parts of the UK on kind of the weekend. So if I just show you a kind of high resolution model here, zoom in on the UK, you can see what might happen over the weekend is we get cold air moving over the North Sea, like I just said, generating some showers like this, as you can see here. Let's see if this one. You can see we might have cold air moving over the North Sea, generating some showers in places, possibly enough for some sleet, but possibly just some rain showers on the weekend with cold rain, maybe sleet in places, as you can see this showing over hills of kind of Kent with some sleet. That's part of this kind of easterly airflow, which is not a very pronounced easterly airflow, but then look at that signal for high pressure to move from the North Atlantic right over to Greenland, and then we get kind of warm advection building up. This new high pressure system over Greenland kind of merges into one big high pressure system, and then this is a properly kind of good looking ensemble average for cold. Remember what I said earlier, the winds flowing clockwise around at high pressure, we get this really long fetched northeasterly wind like so, bringing in those kind of colder temperatures from parts of Northern Europe, Scandinavia and the Arctic, potentially turning into more of an easterly as well. Would be by, let's see, this would be by the 12th of December, the ensemble average still showing an easterly wind, perhaps not super snowy, but impressive, definitely impressive, as you can see here. If we look at the 850 HPA temperature, that's about 1.5 kilometers, as I said earlier. We're kind of looking for these kind of darker blues. This kind of color in between the 4 and the 8, -4 I mean, sorry, is probably what we're going to look for significant snow. And you can see on the average it's kind of approaching northern Scotland. Let's see where it is. So you can see it's staying kind of close to the UK, and if we do get the more snowy scenario, this would definitely probably be covering all of the UK, but this is the average, so it's kind of a bit more evened out. If we look at the European model as well, the average on that, really impressive. Same thing, we have initially that high pressure over, sorry, just waiting for this to load, over northern kind of northern Europe like this, then this high pressure moves north, this one kind of moves northwest, and then we get a new one over Greenland, all kind of merging, if you like, into one big high pressure system over kind of the North Atlantic like this, and then we get this really impressive, oh wow, that's really impressive on the ensemble average, a proper northeasterly airflow, likely kind of cold as well, and that definitely would be quite a snowy solution if it verified. Not super notable on the ensemble average again because it's an average, but interestingly we do have the -5 degree line over most of the UK, apart from kind of southern England, southern Wales. So it is looking increasingly likely we could see some significantly cold weather, especially kind of from the 7th to the kind of 15th of December at this stage. If we look at some of the ensemble averages, this is London here, you can see, so good agreement that by the weekend we're going to be looking at some slightly colder weather, potentially a bit of sleet or cold rain in places for coming in from the North Sea, though not enough snow. And interestingly now, there's kind of was some kind of uncertainty, but look, the kind of ensembles remain quite clustered, not super clustered, but pretty clustered actually, around and below the 5-degree line, with actually most of the ensembles being between 5 degrees, negative 5 degrees and negative 10 degrees, which would be conducive for snow. If we look further north, for example, let's look at Edinburgh. Is it gonna? There we go. If we look at Edinburgh, you can see a lot colder of a signal, but they are further north, of course. But anyway, kind of after the 3rd of December, potentially into the middle of December here, getting quite cold and definitely quite snow conducive. Let's look at, I think this is snow. Yep, looks like it. So you can see that the signal is there. It's not a strong signal, but the signal is there for snow at the end of kind of into December. Same for London, actually a bit more of a signal. There also seems to be an ensemble kind of signal for snow around the 5th of December. I'm not particularly sure why. If we just look on the GFS, I mean, doesn't look like a particularly strong signal there. But is showing there is a potential as we go into December for snow. And if you look at the kind of the Met Office, more high resolution ensembles, you can see for London, similar thing, quite good on kind of ensemble certainty on around negative 5 degrees, possibly enough for some sleet over the weekend. And then this uncertainty really increases, but maybe a bit more of a cluster towards negative 5 degrees. If we look at Edinburgh, you can see much stronger ensemble certainty on negative 5 degrees, and then also kind of staying there as we go further into December, potentially getting a bit colder. Then Manchester, similar to Edinburgh, but a bit more variability in that. So that's kind of it for today, but to sum up, really looking like we could potentially see some snow. Most of the models are now suggesting a colder output, especially kind of the Canadian model. I mean, that this would kind of be the snow kind of haven for cold fans, with a really kind of cold air mass, showers coming in off the North Sea, and then potentially over time bringing cold air. Same for the European model. This would be like snow showers galore across northeastern England and Scotland, and then potentially further south as well. Look at all those snow showers. So it's really worth keeping an eye on. We've seen this kind of signal for now kind of over a week, I think, that kind of towards the 2nd week of December it is going to get colder. So that is kind of the summary. If just going through the kind of week, you can see potentially some snow showers, maybe some sleet like this on the weekend, nothing significant though, and then further snow showers, and then potentially turning a bit colder as we go into the 2nd week of December. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a good day and stay tuned with the weather. Bye.